All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about the cross. In most cases, the cross is your power hand. If we're talking about a southpaw, that's going to be your left hand. Or if we're talking about an orthodox, it's going to be your right hand. It's a straight punch, goes straight to the target, and a lot of times it's the punch that you've been waiting for a long time to get hands on somebody with. It's your power punch. But let's go over a few of the fundamentals of how to actually throw that punch. So starting from our stance, hands are up. We want to make sure that just like all punches, it all comes from a solid stance. Our hands are up, our chin is down. We want to make sure that our elbows are rested on our body. And I'm going to throw this left cross. When I throw it out, I need that punch to be straight. A big mistake that a lot of people make when they throw this cross is they lift the elbow up and throw it like that. We don't want to do it that way. We want to throw it straight. See, look, it's going straight. I'm doing it slow to illustrate how it looks. And we turn that punch. By turning the punch, I mean we're rotating the thumb to the ground. So again, it goes straight. We don't lift that elbow up. It goes straight, and then we turn the punch. Now with this punch, we want to make sure we're punching through the target. That means if the target starts here, we want to imagine that we're hitting about halfway through the target. We also want to make sure that we get full extension on this punch. So how do we do that? We rotate that back shoulder to the front. So all together, it looks like this. Boom. Turning the punch, full extension, punching through. So we want to make sure the punch is going out straight. When we let that elbow flare up, and I see this very commonly with folks, I mean even folks that's been doing it for a long time, when that elbow comes out, two things happen. First of all, you telegraph and you let your opponent know that you're about to throw the punch, because every time they see that elbow comes up, they know the punch is coming. Secondly, you forfeit a lot of power when you're throwing this punch. When I throw the punch with the elbow up like this, a lot of that energy is coming from my arms. When I throw the punch straight from the guard, the energy is coming from my core and from my legs. And when we think about it, the energy for your cross, the force from your cross is generated by that same side leg. So that's going to be an important factor when it comes to adding solid power to the cross. When we throw it straight, we can make all of that work together. We can make those legs work with the core, work with the shoulders, work with the arm, and then go out through the fist. Now, footing wise, a lot of, like I said before, the cross is directly linked to the leg from which side you are punching. So in my case, I'm punching with my left hand, my southpaw stance. The power is coming from the left leg. That means that that left leg, that left foot needs to be making contact with the ground. So a lot of people, in order to get that rotation, they rotate on the ball of their foot, kind of like that, which is perfectly fine. But we have to do it in a way where the foot is pressing down into the mat. It's got to be pressing down into that mat. A big mistake that a lot of people make, and they make this mistake mainly because they're trying to reach the target, is they take the weight off of that back foot so they can get closer to the target and hit the target. You do not want to do that. You want to press that foot into the mat and get your extension by rotating that shoulder forward. Like I said, the energy for this punch is coming from that same side leg. So that foot must make contact with the ground. As a matter of fact, the more contact that foot is making, the harder that foot is pressing into the ground, the harder the punch is going to be. So that foot wants to be pressed into the mat. Now, you normally, for the most part, when you're throwing that punch, you give a little rotation. You rotate your heel out like that to get your extension. But you can add a significant amount of power to that cross by having more surface area of your foot on the back, on the ground, and pressing that foot into the ground. The last thing that we want to make sure is happening is that that hand comes back to cover. Every time you throw a punch, the hand that's punching, its next responsibility is to come back to cover. And that's going to be very important when you're throwing that cross. So, we want to make sure that the punch, well, starting off in our stance, of course, we want to make sure that the punch goes out straight. No flapping the arms. We want to make sure that the punch, that we're turning the punch. That means rotating the thumb to the ground. We want to make sure that we get full extension on the punch, rotating that shoulder, that rear shoulder, and making it your front shoulder. We want to be pressing down on that same side foot because the power is coming from our leg, and we want to bring that punch back to cover. So putting it all together, it looks like this. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys can use that, use those tips, and hopefully it helps you improve your game. Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. Let's get it.